Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are talking Super Bowl 58, guys. As you guys know, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl 58. It was a very, very long game, over 4.5 hours, including I think it was around 4.5 hours, including the halftime show. I streamed that entire game, which was just crazy. My throat is still sore because of the fact the game was so long. But we'll be breaking down this game. The Chiefs, obviously we'll be talking about them. Break down their game analysis. Same thing with the San Francisco 49ers. Then we'll look at the future for both teams going forward. But before we do all that, guys, I'm going to tell you to subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Linda Great Blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cog Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to the video and let's roll that intro. Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today it'll be intercepted! The defensive line. What the hell are you doing? No effort whatsoever when it came to the defense. That he is 0 for 2 today. Come on, Stotty. Stop! 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 Red flag! First pitch! Bring him in! Braxton! Stop! Ring that! Yeah! Oh, damn. 1, 2, 3. What? Alright, let's get into the video. So starting off, how did the Kansas City Chiefs pull off this win? Well, it's Patrick Mahomes. That's why. And that's why I think he's the greatest player of all time. I mean, Andy Reid knew that if he put the ball in the hands of Isaiah Pacheco, that he was not going to be able to get the job done. It happened continuously throughout the game. Pacheco on 3rd and 4th and short was just not getting the job done. You put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, he's going to get you the job done, and getting the job done is what he did. 3rd and shorts, every single time it was put in the hands of Patrick Mahomes. He either ran for it, threw for it, doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes made this win. He was the biggest reason they won this game. I mean, when they were able to get to the 11-yard line on that Mahomes' throw, I mean, that A-gap window was so tight. No quarterback, I don't think, in the NFL would have the guts to run through that. But Patrick Mahomes did. The fear factor that the San Francisco 49ers defensive line puts in a quarterback, you would think that a quarterback would not run through the A-gap of all places, but Patrick Mahomes was able to do it. And hold on, I have to look at my notes here. I think the Chiefs had some luck in the second half. The 49ers could not just do anything on offense. Now, I want to get into a little bit of Kyle Shanahan here. I think the fact that, the lack, I don't want to say lack of use of CMC because he had 30 touches and around 22 carries, but he was your MVP candidate. He was the guy that was supposed to take you, to win this Super Bowl. Not really Brock Purdy when it's all said and done. Christian McCaffrey is the best player on that offense, and even though 30 carries is a lot, I feel that he would definitely need more because it's the Super Bowl. It is the biggest stage. 30 carries, if that's not enough, then so be it. Give him more carries. This is the final game of the year. You have how many months to recover? You have to get the job done. Purdy could not complete a pass, and that's the reason I think he should have given the ball to CMC. There was 4 straight incompletions Brock Purdy was throwing on a few separate drives, and Shanahan just kept putting the ball in his hands, and he just couldn't do it. Now, the lack of use of George Kittle, I thought, was a bit of a problem. Obviously, George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. I feel like Shanahan should have used him there. But, we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs right here. I think that, they really got lucky because the 49ers cannot do anything on offense. It's really simple like that. Steve Spagnuolo called an incredible game on that 3rd and 4 on the final play of regulation for the 49ers minus the field goal. He sent that pressure. McDuffie right through that B gap. He made sure that it happened. He put Brock Purdy under pressure. Spagnuolo called an incredible game. I thought the secondary played really well. They were forced a lot of incompletions in the second half. They didn't go for any fancy stuff. They didn't go for the interceptions. They just went for the pass deflections. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes, as I just mentioned, an incredible game. But I feel like the Chiefs really got lucky in this one because of the fact that the 49ers could not capitalize off their mistakes. And that's really the way it is. Now, what happened to the San Francisco 49ers? They blew it. And there's no excuse for it. Let me tell you why. The Kansas City Chiefs self-destructed. When a team self-destructs, they should be done. Like, take the Philadelphia Eagles, for example. I always say, and I will continue to say, the Eagles lost because they self-destructed and didn't believe in their coaching. I think the Chiefs believed in their coaching, but they self-destructed. Any team in any sport and any level that self-destructs within, where they keep getting pissed at each other, they're yelling on the sidelines, and it's visible to the public eye, that's when they're going to fall apart on the field. I've seen it firsthand myself. That is what happens. I mean, you got Rashid Rice yelling at Patrick Mahomes yelling. You got Isaiah Pacheco getting down on himself. You got Travis Kelce hitting into his coach. Now, I don't know if he was joking when he said that that really wasn't what it was, but hell, it sure seemed like what it was. He was taken out on the play, and Pacheco fumbled. He's yelling and running into Andy Reid. That is unacceptable, by the way. That can definitely not happen. I thought they should have benched him for a drive because of that, but that's neither here nor there. They were a mess. And one of my biggest sayings is that defense cannot hold forever. The defense was holding because the Kansas City Chiefs offense was self-destructing. But guess what? The defense was fine. Chris Jones, after he had his little pep talk, the defense was fine after that. But the 49ers could just not get the job done on a self-destructed team. That was their biggest issue. Why it happened, I'm not necessarily sure. Once again, I think you have to blame Kyle Shanahan for this game. There's blame everywhere. But I feel like Kyle Shanahan deserves some blame. Taking the ball, he should have taken the ball out of Brock Purdy's hands. Christian McCaffrey should have gotten more carries. The use of George Kittle, that should have been maximized. It's the Super Bowl. Everybody has to be maximized for their full potential. Everybody has to get involved. Obviously, your stars are going to take you to the promised land. I'm not saying George Kittle is not a star, but he's definitely not the best player on that offense. He should have been maximized at his full potential because he is the second best tight end in the NFL. I want to move on to Brock Purdy a bit. I'm not really trying to give this a lot of hate to Brock Purdy. I know people are criticizing him, and that is very, very fair, but it's not like 100% on him. I feel like people are putting most of the blame on him. There were definitely a lot of problems. There were a lot of penalties, a lot of pre-snap penalties by the San Francisco 49ers. Shanahan was not using the weapons right. It wasn't all on Brock Purdy, but he definitely had some faults. I said coming into this game, to win, you have to outplay Patrick Mahomes. That's a very, very hard thing to do. But if people want to put him on a pedestal of, leaning into greatness, then you are going to have to outplay Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. It's happened before. And that's the gist of it. We cannot put Brock Purdy on a level of greatness if we're saying he doesn't have to outplay Patrick Mahomes to win. That's the way it has to be. And I'm sorry that I had to say it, but that is it. I thought that Brock Purdy could not make any throws under pressure. Now, I understand that Kansas City's defensive line is one of the best in the NFL, but there were some throws that he definitely could have made. That play to Deebo Samuel where he overthrew him in the end zone, I definitely thought he could have made that throw. You did not have to lean back to alleviate the pressure of Chris Jones. You can take that hit if you are, you could potentially get a roughing the passer call as well, because there's so many of those nowadays. He did not need to go back to alleviate the pressure. What do you call it? Only 60% of Brock Purdy's passes were completed. I feel that is definitely a problem. He only really had one nice throw during the game. It was that over-the-shoulder throw to Conley on that corner route. And it was really only because Conley ran an incredible route there. If you guys want to hear my breakdown of those sort of plays, make sure you guys go re-listen to my stream. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, once again, Debo, he was targeted 11 times. He only had 3 catches. I think that is definitely on both of them. One more thing I do want to bring up is the special teams. I feel like there should have been problems adjusted there because of the fact that, Ray McLeod was telling everybody, get out of the way, don't touch the football. I don't necessarily remember who had hit off the person's ankle, but there had to be adjustments made. You have to have your awareness, and that's what led to the Kansas City Chiefs getting back in the ball game. Also, people are not talking about this at all. I want to bring this up. There was a blocked kick. When San Francisco 49ers took the lead 16-13, there was a blocked kick. Why is that happening? That cannot happen on a Super Bowl. Football is a game of inches. That block kick determined the outcome of the game. The Chiefs could not get close enough to the end zone to score on that final drive, and the San Francisco 49ers would have won in regulation, but that block kick led them to getting the field goal and sending this game into overtime. That is something we need to bring up right there. That cannot happen. You have to make sure you're blocking. You have to make sure you have to make sure you minimize their use of arms, making sure they don't swat the ball. That is something that's unfortunate, but it's something that could also be minimized as well. Now we're going to move on to the future. What's next for the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, I think if they lost that game, they would have gone out and got a guy like a Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins feeling that they need them. But because of the fact that they won and maybe the fact that they feel that they don't need those guys and want to save cap space, they might not go out and get a top-tier receiver like one of those guys. I can understand that. Patrick Mahomes, faced a lot of adversity this year. His receivers with the most drops in the NFL. And even in this game, there were 1 or 2 drops that I saw that really could have been caught for some big plays. There were definitely some mistakes in this game, but Patrick Mahomes is so great that he could get the job done no matter what. They feel that he can still do that for a few years to come, and they can save some cap space for other positions of need. I can really understand that. But I feel their number one priority has to be Chris Jones. Without him in that Lions game, they did not look anything like themselves. Chris Jones really anchors that defense. Obviously, the best defensive player there. He really is a difference maker. He had a lot of pressures. He was in the backfield. He was making a lot of plays for the Kansas City Chiefs in that game. And as I mentioned, Brock Purdy missed that throw. Part of the fact because Chris Jones was right in his face as one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. I feel like he has to be the number one priority because he is definitely a reason why the Chiefs won this game. Now what's next for the San Francisco 49ers? They can pretty much come back with the same team. There are a lot of guys that are under contract. There are a few that are not. Obviously, Chase Young is probably, I don't know if he's the number one priority. And I say that because he might have just been a rental for this season. They might just let him walk in the offseason. I'm not necessarily sure. But if he was a rental, then it is what it is. They're definitely not lacking at the defensive line spot. I think the way he played in the Super Bowl, he played really well. Him and Nick Bosa were getting off the edge really quickly. He even had a sack. I thought that, he deserves to be brought back. He deserves a contract from the 49ers. And hopefully for him, he gets it. Randy Gregory is also in free agency. I don't think he's really as needed or much of a priority as Nick Bosa is. Chase Young is, as they're pretty deep at that position. I know Gibson, he might be brought back. He started as a safety when Hufanga went down. There are other role players that do matter to their success, but there really aren't any superstars. If you want to count Chase Young as a superstar, go right ahead. But there really aren't any real, glorified superstars that really need to be brought back or really need to be re-signed. We'll move into the future. We have some more videos coming out for you guys. We have NBA videos coming out tomorrow. We'll be continuing with some more NBA videos as the weeks go on. Obviously, the NFL season has come to an end, which means free agency is going to start soon. We'll have some draft coverage. probably starting in a month or so. So you guys should, hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. And that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Linda Great blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.